Good morning. Good morning. It's early. It's early here. Sun has come up though, so it's not that early. I hope you live somewhere quiet enough and peaceful enough that you can wake up in the morning to the sound of a cardinal singing and greeting the day before the sun has even come up, as I did this morning. And if you don't, then remember that, I know I haven't always, and I felt so disconnected from nature, and it was hard. It was hard to get through. It was a hard time of my life, but if you look and you open your heart, then nature will find its way to you, I promise. That's what it does. You just have to trust it. There is a divine conspiracy, after all, to get you where you need to be. So, just because I think I mentioned that phrase already in another video. That's not my phrase. It's a man named Dallas Willard who wrote a book called The Divine Conspiracy. And I just love that phrase. I think it's accurate. So, he's a Christian. This is a Christian book, so that might not be up your alley. I know it's always a little bit of an obstacle for me because of the way that I grew up. But he was a beautiful man, and it's a beautiful book. So, and it's a beautiful phrase, the divine conspiracy. It was something I wanted to believe for a long time before I actually believed it, but now I actually believe it. That's not what we're talking about today. Well, it kind of is what we're talking about today. It's kind of what we're always talking about when we're not live streaming and just rambling on about nonsense. But we've decided we're not going to live stream for now because we don't have an audience. We don't have anybody here to join in a conversation, which seems to be what live streams are nice for, so we're just going to keep making videos, and we're going to make videos about our Stoic journal. We want to start reading entries from it. That was always our plan for this YouTube channel. Well, it was always our plan for a YouTube channel, and because I already had this Miss Underhill YouTube channel, which I just used to log into YouTube and watch other people's videos, I was like, well, it'll work. And I'm learning to go with the flow. And that's a little bit related to our topic, which is Stoicism. Stoicism is an ancient Roman philosophy. And if you're interested in ancient philosophy and Stoicism in particular from, I might want to say like a more formal perspective or a more like a deep dive into the actual philosophy of it, then I recommend a channel called Accepting the Universe. It's a really good channel, really good content, and it's kind of laser focused on Stoicism. So if you're interested in that, I do recommend it. I'm probably going to jump around a little bit more. Stoicism for me has just served as a tool, like a practical approach to, well, maybe that's what we should talk about, is how have I approached Stoicism, and why did I take up a Stoic journaling practice? When what I was really interested in at the time was what I have always been interested in is finding out how to live life deliberately. To quote the American writer Henry David Thoreau, the 19th century American writer Thoreau. He wrote a book called Walden, among other books. They're all good, but I really recommend Walden. And what he does is he explains what he does. He just starts out with a credo. Like, he doesn't beat around the bush. He says, I went to the woods because I wanted to live life deliberately. And then he goes on to say that it's because he wanted to suck the very marrow out of life. And not, when he came to die, discovered that he had not lived. So I read that when I was very young, and it's always sort of stayed with me. But what is living deliberately? I actually did go to the woods at one point myself. I didn't build a cabin like the road. I didn't build my own cabin. And, well, I did grow some of my own food, actually, but I didn't. I still was engaged with the modern world, which Thoreau sort of decided, oh, I'll be right back. Sorry about this. I don't want to pause this now. I'll be quick. Sorry about that. I just realized I could have brought you into the kitchen with me. My tea is steeping now. There is a really wonderful YouTube channel called Living with Mandu, and it's this woman in Sweden who has a corgi. It's just, and they're silent videos. I might do some of those because I really love them, because silence has been very, very, very important in our own journey, my own journey, to the extent of going on silent retreats and everything, because I was just yearned for silence. And I live in a very quiet place now, and it's just like a balm to the soul. And but I'm also, if you're doing the stoic thing, or you could also call it Buddhist. You could call it a lot of things. It has to do with well, it's like the channel I just mentioned. It's about accepting the universe, accepting whatever comes along, accepting it without judgment, accepting it without resistance. And if resistance comes up, accepting that and not even resisting that. I write about all this in the journal. So there's a link in my bio here on YouTube. It's a WordPress journal. And you might not do the blog thing, but basically the most recent entry is on top, and then you have to go back to read it from the beginning. I would recommend reading it from the beginning, I guess, if you want to see someone crawl out of the dark night of the soul in real time. Or you could go backwards. That could be interesting. But what I need to do, and I need to figure out how to do this, is just, have like the archives where you can just click. Because right now you'd have to page through it, and that seems a little, I mean, it's not arduous, but it seems a little unnecessarily. I think I can make it a little bit easier. Anyhow, we were talking about Stoicism. What is Stoicism? What is Stoicism to me? What is Stoicism to you? If you're watching this, why don't you comment below and let me know what you think about Stoicism? I had a sort of tortured relationship for a while, because I didn't like the idea of, to me, it felt like becoming cold and emotionless, and I really didn't like that idea. But I'm going to give you an example of how it's not like that. not in the way that I thought. It actually makes life so much more, it makes you so much more open to whatever feelings actually do move through, because you're not identified with them in the same way. You've created some space around them. Taoism, that was the other thing. That was really what we were drawn to in the beginning, but we just didn't know how to live it. We didn't know how to practice it. We read the Tao. I don't know why I'm saying we. I read the Tao Te Ching. I guess I'm thinking in terms of the channel or something, but it's really just me. I'm Jane, by the way, aka Miss Underhill. You don't have to call me Miss Underhill. That's just sort of a Tolkien reference. You can call me Underhill or Jane. So if you've ever read the Tao Te Ching, or if you've ever read Marcus Aurelius, that's what we're going to be talking about the most, really, is this book. Oh, I just happen to have everything right here. So this is my journal, my Stoic journal. This is what's on the WordPress site. What does that say? Oh, 14 January. So let's just give you a little sample reading so you get an idea. I'm going to read all of these. I just haven't figured out what to do with I'm definitely not going to film myself reading. It just doesn't seem interesting. I think I might go to the woods, since I can walk to the woods here. Actually, there's woods just in my backyard here. So we might go outside. We'll figure it out. The universe will tell us what to do. But for now, I'll just read. I just picked this at random, just to give you an idea of what for me, because it means different things to different people. And I certainly didn't do any kind of formal training in Stoic journaling. I don't know how other people approach it, but for me, this is how I approached it. Well, let me tell you, I can give you this little bit of this really was my focus. My journal was about learning how to observe the mind, observe my own thoughts, and eventually come to not even think of them as my thoughts. They're just thoughts, and they're just here. And I'm observing them. So who is this I that is observing these thoughts? That was really the question, to unravel this. Zen Buddhism is another approach. If I'm just trying to give you an idea, I hope I'm not just like throwing everything out there. Well, that's why I recommended another channel if you were only interested in Stoicism, because I tend to throw a lot of things in there. That's just been our path, it's been my path. So let me just read the random page that I opened up to. 14 January. All I can do is keep returning to the present moment. The mind keeps protesting. It finds this so crushingly boring and uneventful. Here are some thoughts. You have always welcomed the distraction, it says, even when it means pointless worry or harsh self-criticism or going around and around in circles. This is what is actually boring. I tried to practice this last night as I was going to sleep, when I would be blunt and direct with the mind and say, okay, what do you have to tell me? It would get quiet. Sort of like if someone is complaining more and more loudly just to hear themselves talk, because they think you're ignoring them. But when you do turn around and engage them, they have nothing to say. The mind is sure something is wrong. But when I go still and look into myself, try to feel in my body where this actually is, this wrongness, I can't find anything. So I don't think I'm even actually distressed. Last night I tried to use my mind to think of a solution for my discomfort, as I have so many times before. so many times. And there was just nothing there. No ideas, no grand plans, no next moves, just nothing. And I know this is a good thing, but it makes sense that the mind would be freaking out a little. It thinks it has always been in charge, that it is the one who has kept me safe, and it is the only reason I have ever accomplished anything. It is enough for now just to know on a deeper level that this is not the case. I can only trust that I will keep being shown the next step, no matter how impossible that appears to be sometimes. I have to keep reminding myself that this is only the mind's perception, and it is simply incorrect. And I am going through a process of correction, and sometimes it will be slow going, and that is okay. Whatever comes up just needs to be brought into awareness rather than being pushed away. This is bound to get easier if I am patient. So I didn't plan to read the whole entry, but I did. That was the entry. So there's an example of a Stoic journal entry in my Stoic journal. Like I said, I'm not really sure how other people do it. Sorry, I'm making my tea. I just haven't had my tea yet this morning, so. And we just wanted to make a video. I just wanted to make a video. Before I got started, it is a work day today. I have a few deadlines, and I have a friend coming over this afternoon, so kind of a big day. And for me, because I've been living like a monk for 4 years, so I'm not used to having friends over anymore. Not literally a monk, but I have lived a life of solitude for the past at least 5 years. So I was inspired by this book, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I showed this in an earlier video, but I'm kind of hoping nobody ever goes back and watches the early videos when I was experimenting. I don't actually mind. I wouldn't have posted them if it didn't feel like the right thing. So it's just a little funny because, like I said, I've been living a very solitary life, so it's a little extreme, I suppose, to go from that to trying to get people to watch my channel on YouTube. But this is the thing about Stoic journaling practice, is it trains you to just accept things and to go with them, and to not overthink it, to not worry that you're making a mistake, to not to worry about consequences. And I know that might sound, I know it did to me, it might sound like a foolish way to live even. But that's a card in the tarot deck, the Fool. And sometimes the fool is the wisest of all. So who's to say, really, at the end of the day? So we're not going to make a super long video. It's already almost 20 minutes. So we're going to wrap this up. But I did want to give you an example of how in my own path, how things have changed since I wrote this journal, since I started keeping this journal. And it's not like I've stopped journaling, but I feel like it's I've come to sort of a logical stopping place to start talking to other people about it. Let's say that. Not that I have all the answers or any answers. That's the whole thing. That's what you find out. Spoiler alert, you find out you don't know anything. And, but you also learn that it's okay, that it really is okay, because there's a real peace in not knowing anything, and to know that it's actually okay, that it's going to be okay. the mind was never running the show anyway. So the example I wanted to give of what has changed for me personally. So I was talking in a video, I think I posted this, because I think I live streamed it, because I was in the coffee shop and I just wanted to test what the sound was like. And I actually don't think it was great, so I don't think I'll do that again. There was a lot of background noise that wasn't loud to me while I was sitting there, but was pretty loud in the video. So I'd call it a possibly not failed experiment, but I don't think I'll be doing that again. But the point is, I was talking about, so I grew up in the country. I didn't grow up on a farm myself. I lived in town, but it was a very small town and it was surrounded by farmland, and most of my schoolmates lived on farms or were farm adjacent, I guess you could say. It's a farming community. I grew up in a farming community, let's say that. I grew up in a farming community in Saratoga County in New York State, here in the US. And I was talking in the video about this town near where I grew up, it's basically where I grew up, called Saratoga Springs. And I was recommending it and saying, you know, how great it was, and it's a great community, and it's very walkable, and there's this wonderful park with ducks, and you know, it is a nice place, don't get me wrong, objectively speaking. But I noticed, like, even as I was talking, there was just this sort of subtle feeling of like something's different, and I'm not sure what it is. Then when I rewatched the video to check the whole sound thing that I was talking about, it hit me that everything I was saying was basically like a mental habit, because there used to be a lot of emotional charge around it, because when I first moved to Central New York, where I am now, Central New York State, upstate, Finger Lakes region, if you're not familiar. New York is a huge state. Everybody knows about New York City, of course, for good reason. But New York it's huge. And where I grew up was called the Adirondack Mountains. And it's literally a state park that's massive, that's protected woods and land. And you can go hiking and you can live in the woods. And so, yeah, a lot of people don't know about that part of New York State. And so that's why I recommend it to people, you know, and I do get excited about that still, I think. I get excited about the woods, but I didn't have the same attachment or identification to being from this place or having grown up in this place. And what's more, I'm actually going there next week for a couple of days. I got an Airbnb. And I want to go to the bookstore. Oh, there's an amazing bookstore called Northshire Bookstore. There's a location in Manchester, Vermont, which I actually highly recommend. That's a fantastic little town in Vermont. I just love it there. It's just beautiful, surrounded by mountains. It's really lovely. It's really the nature connections that really feed my soul at this point. Otherwise, I just don't feel attached to any of these places. And like I said, when I first started with Stoicism, not that I'm a practicing Stoic, but, you know, with self-inquiry, with meditation, with exploring Zen Buddhism and Taoism and non-duality, which is the Indian philosophy, ancient Indian philosophy about the nature of reality. Before I started exploring all of that, there was something that made me think, you know, I don't like the sound of that. It feels like it would be cold and emotionless and inhuman, and it would destroy my uniqueness. It would destroy who I am. You know, it makes everyone sort of like you know, I grew up in a church that was very much like everybody has to be the same, or at least that was my experience of it. It's not the same for everyone, of course, but that's what it was like for me. And so I always was on the lookout for that, you know. And but you know, that's exactly what the type of thing that I ended up exploring. Like, why do I feel that way, and who is this I that feels this anyway? You know. Um, but we don't need to get into all of that right now. I think I said what I wanted to say this morning. Oh, the point is that I did want to mention this because it's just interesting, you know, to when you have, so if you read the journal, you'll see that I was really struggling with some overwhelming, painful emotions for a period of time. And it was quite overwhelming. And it's actually the reason I started writing on why I started posting it online, because I was already journaling and meditating, and I was having a lot of things come up that I just didn't know what to do with, and I didn't have anyone to talk to. At least I didn't feel that I had anyone to talk to that would understand. And so I just put it out there into the universe and posted. I had like a WordPress blog already that was inactive, and I just started a new blog that I called Jane's Stoic Journal, because I just learned about Stoic journaling, and I just started writing what I was going through, because I've always been a journaler and I've always been a writer, so that came naturally for me. But the point is that I'm in a place now where the dust seems to have settled, and it just feels more peaceful. So I noticed that also when I was live streaming yesterday, that for the past 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, I don't remember, that I've been living in central New York, because I moved to the Syracuse area, the outskirts of Syracuse first. And it wasn't a good fit. It was noisy, and I did find a connection to nature that was amazing, but there was also a lot of people and a lot of noise, and I'd gotten used to like living alone in the woods, so it was a little bit overwhelming. That's neither here nor there. What I was saying, yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. I'm not going to apologize for making a 30-minute video, though. If Jenny Nicholson can make 3.5 videos about her trip to Star Wars land, then, and have it be, I mean, I'm not going to compare myself to her, because she's very engaging and she knows what she's doing, and I'm just starting out, so never mind. I guess I just wanted to say that I'm happy where I am, and I didn't think that was going to ever be possible. So it's really quite wonderful, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful that I can feel so grounded and at home in this place that the universe sort of just dropped me in, where I am now in the Finger Lakes. Because I actually, if you asked me, would you want to move back to Saratoga Springs now? Here's an apartment. Here's a source of income. Here's a friend group. Like, give me the whole life package. I'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm good where I am. I like it here. I can walk to the lake. I can walk to the woods. It's a lot more diverse here. And I like that. It's quieter. It's more peaceful. It's where I'm supposed to be right now. That's all. And I don't need to change anything. I don't need to make anything happen anymore. And, you know, if something else happened, say there was like a family emergency, I don't have family there anymore, but say there was a reason I did have to move and leave all this behind, I would do my best to bear it. I would just do my best to bear it. Whatever was a challenge or whatever was a loss or perceived as a loss, I would just do my best to bear it. That is how Marcus Aurelius lived, and that is how we're trying to live here on this channel. And that's what Stoicism is for us. It's learning how to face life without conditions. Learning how to embrace life without conditions, without judgment, without that endless inner commentary that is the mind. And on that note, we're going to have our tea, and we hope you have a wonderful morning.